Welcome to Kyrgyzstan. It's my first day touring the city of Bishkek, the capital of Kyrgyzstan. Behind me is Dushanbe Park, right in the city centre, and just around the corner is what's called the Kyrgyz State Historical Museum. I'm going to go to that later. So I'm just going to spend the day touring around the city centre, having a look around the landmarks, some of the museums. Got a few circled off on my Brant city guide. The hostel is great so far. It's actually about 5 kilometres from the city centre, so it's a bit out of the way, but it's not too bad. The taxis are cheap. It's only about £2 for the taxi ride, which is mentally cheap. So it's already steaming hot. It's just coming up to 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm guessing it's about to hit 30, or if it hasn't already, I can already feel it getting into me. Always getting a bit dehydrated, so I'm going to have to find somewhere to get some water soon. So I'll have a look around the Dushanbe Park area. There's a couple of monuments and a couple of museums. Then I'll hit the State Historical Museum and the Fine Arts Museum. But first, I needed some breakfast. I found this fantastic restaurant called Ants, which is on Kindic Avenue. Great little place, really modern, really stylish, really good food. But the best thing about it were the toilets. They were just immaculate. Haven't seen toilets like this since Fortnum and Mason's in London. Just wonderful. So that was the State Historical Museum of Kyrgyzstan. Pretty interesting. Very interesting build. I'm not sure what the style is, whether it's a Soviet style or something. Lots of marble, very shiny, but some good exhibits. It's actually quite well laid out, just not a lot of information basically. They don't give you an easy guide. Like in the Tajik National Museum, they actually have arrows on the floor pointing you to which direction to go. In this one it's not clear. They actually had to start. The actual start of it is on the ground floor, just by reception. From reception you turn right, and that takes you through the prehistory, going into the early medieval period. Then you go up the stairs, and on the first floor you have to turn left, and then you go all the way around, and it goes sort of late medieval, and then up the next level you get to sort of early modern and modern. So I ended up doing it in the wrong order, but it's still fine. It's still, still very interesting. History about how the different tribes of Kyrgyzstan got together and how this country came to be through the Soviet Union. So right now it's coming up to lunchtime. My phone says it's about 35 degrees Celsius, which is not surprising. I think yesterday when I arrived in the afternoon about 4 o'clock it was about 40 degrees. So it is sweltering. Now my hostel has a pool, but I didn't bring any shorts, so I'm going to head that way to a department store called Sum to do some clothes shopping, which is something I really want to do, but that's life. I really want to use that pool. You don't get many pools in hostels these days, so it's off to do some clothes shopping. It's just come up to midday, so I guess I might as well get an early lunch there, and then I'll head all the way around this area. There's an open air sculpture museum, there's a fine arts museum, there's the Mikhail Frunze Museum, which I think is just over there. There's a few more monuments, so I'll be checking them out this afternoon, and then I'll head back to the hostel. I might risk trying to walk it, well, it'll probably take an hour to get back. I'm not exactly sure what the taxis are like in terms of hailing them, or which ones I should be taking, so I'll have to be careful with that. But we'll see how it goes. First, some clothes shopping. So that was the Fine Arts Museum in Bishkek, a pretty good art gallery. It's only on one floor. The first part of it is, carpets and tapestries and embroideries, which is a very important thing in this part of the world. They're very proud of that particular art form. And then it goes through the various different artworks. There's a small corner with a bit of archaeological statues from Greece, Rome, Egypt, one of Mesopotamian kingdom, I'm not sure which one, maybe Babylon I think, and a lot of sort of regional art which probably doesn't really class as fine arts in, say, the UK or in anywhere else in Europe, but still some pretty interesting works. There was only one piece of work that stands out for me, so when I go to art galleries I don't study every single image. I take in the paintings, and if one grabs my attention then I'll pay attention to it. There's only really one that did that for me. It was called Green Lawn by an artist called Berdyakov or Berdyanakov, something like that. Hopefully I'll be able to find an image and I'll put it right here, maybe get enough space, maybe got it right there. That was quite a striking image of a horse in a forest clearing, having motorbike there. So those are actually, I only picked in my guide, but I only circled 2 museums I really wanted to see, the State Museum and this museum. So I've done those. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to head a little bit north. There's an open air sculpture museum just around the corner. I'm going to check that out. I managed to get some shorts, some swimming shorts in that department store. So I'll probably start making my way back to the hostel so I can get in some good time, relaxing in the pool with an ice cold beer and just chilling out for a little bit. It is almost 40 degrees now, so I've got a full bottle of water. I'm going to need it, and I'll get back to the hostel not too late so I can enjoy some time in the pool relaxing, and I can think about going out later. So I'm going to start taking a walk that way to the open air sculpture museum. day two, well, full day two, touring around Bishkek. It's actually quite late, it's gone 11 o'clock. I went out to a few little bars last night around here. Went to quite a nice little craft beer microbrewery place that looks like called Save the Ales, which unfortunately looks like it's closing down next week, so that was a shame. Glad I got to go. There's some decent beers there actually, very nice. Then I went down the road to another pub and bumped into some of the guys in the hostel, so we ended up joining them. We went to another place, actually an Irish bar obviously, but it wasn't really an Irish bar, it was just a bar with some Guinness signs on top, but it was a good night out. Didn't get back to the hostel until about 3:30, so I'm feeling a little bit delicate at the moment. I've only just made it out, but the good news is it's only 24 degrees right now. It's kind of cloudy, although the blue skies are coming up over there, which is a little bit annoying because the forecast says it's going to be cloudy all day, so I didn't put any sunblock on, which is great, but I got a hoodie with me just in case it starts raining again. But yeah, it's been a fair bit of heavy rain yesterday evening and overnight, so today I'm just gonna take a tour around. So this is Alatu Square. I'll go tour around some of the sites. There's a fairground over that side, just taking a few more sites. There is another museum called the Mikhail Frunze Museum, who was a Soviet general, led a campaign in Central Asia. So just gonna have another wander around the city today, and now actually getting packed for the big bus trip. I won't be going out drinking tonight because I've got a 5-hour bus to take, and I don't want to have any sort of hangover when I'm on that bus. So let's get started. And that was my very short trip to Bishkek, the capital of Kyrgyzstan. It was in a very interesting city. It wasn't the most picturesque, the most postcard friendly. It wasn't like Dushanbe in Kyrgyzstan, which had massively redeveloped over recent years. It still felt very old school, very Soviet, very kind of run down, a bit drab, but that kind of had an interesting charm to it. I really liked it. Again, people were fantastic. It was easy to navigate, easy to get around, very safe. But there are pockets of development happening, very slowly. They're getting there. It's onwards and upwards. I definitely recommend this as a place to visit if you're ever thinking about coming to this area. Oh, and there are still some issues, like for example this long stretch of pavement which was under construction midway, but wasn't exactly the best organised. Just reminded me of the worst kind of local council in the UK. If you can think of a local council in the UK that comes close to this kind of disorganisation, please let me know. But on the other hand, Bishkek is a fantastic city to visit.